TMJ4, and we're covering breaking news of a 4-alarm fire at Fratney and Center in the Riverwest neighborhood. Some other pictures still coming in to us from the scene. Not sure if this is from our Nick Montes, from whom we've just heard before, or also viewers are sending in pictures. And if you're watching this right now, you're close to that scene, please feel free to send them in. We'll put as many pictures on the air as we can. Send us a note on Twitter or on Facebook as well, or call the station here and let us know what you're seeing.
You know, that last tower cam shot, I know they're getting a handle on this fire, but you notice that there really wasn't that plume of smoke coming up. A lot of it is just settling down in the neighborhoods because the air is so heavy. The moisture content and all that kind of is trapping that smoke in the area. So there's going to be some poor air quality in addition to what we already were having because of the heat wave. But you can notice that there's the smoke. You're not seeing that initial that billow like we typically would. But this also means that they're getting a handle on the fire, which is good. But it's just a hot, hazy, humid day. And we were talking about June 20th. It was 93 and very humid conditions, very similar to what it was or is as we speak.
June 20th was the big fire at 13th and Valete, where that grocery store and warehouse seemed to burn right across the street from the Cog Center. And that thing burned for a few hours. So it was one of those classic old buildings in Milwaukee, and it was on fire for a long time. And almost mirror conditions, Brian. You said 93 degrees for that, 92 is our current air temp, and then.
But the difference today is we're going to probably go up to 100 to 101, and those, these guys aren't going to be gone in an hour. They're going to be there the rest of the day, making sure there's no hot spots, controlling the neighborhood. So it is just going to get hotter from here on out for the rest of the afternoon.
You did mention there was a slight breeze, but obviously when they're in full gear, this is gear that's designed not to breathe.
Right. And
for a purpose.
But also the light breeze is helping them for the fact that it's not pushing those ambers all around those tight neighborhoods that you were talking about.
Very close buildings. The only saving grace here is perhaps that Joe's Garage is pretty close to a corner. It looks like a vacant lot there, or some room, maybe a parking lot or service area right close to Pierce next to the building. So at least it's not sandwiched in between some buildings were it in the middle of the block. At least it's closer to a corner. So they're primarily worried about buildings on a couple of sides as opposed to all around this structure. Chopper 4 now on scene, really giving us a good idea of exactly what firefighters are facing. And look how deep into the structure they are. You know, the pictures that we saw, Brian, were coming from the street. And these guys are a half a block in, it seems, almost. I mean, they are really into the interior middle part of this building. So even though you're thinking, boy, they're right up on top of it there on the street level, they're not. They are way inside, which is why they're at that tower position trying to douse the center part of this building with a lot of water.
A lot of water. They're putting thousands upon thousands of gallons as we speak, and there's still smoke. I mean, it's going to be smoking for quite a long time, but that is a fantastic shot from Chopper 4 with Power Zoom.
Important to point out, good to have this fire at least in Milwaukee, where the municipal water is coming from Lake Michigan. There are no watering restrictions, not that they would restrict firefighter use, but you have a lot of communities in our area due to the dry conditions that are restricting watering and other behaviors for homeowners, specifically because in a situation like this, if there were a fire, say Brookfield, they're drawing on well water in many cases, or other parts of Waukesha County. And you don't want that well to get down too far, so in an instance where you might need this much water, you're going to have that there for emergency response, which is why in some of those communities where they're perhaps not drawing from Lake Michigan and don't have that somewhat unlimited supply, they have taken steps to make sure that homeowners are not watering their lawns and watering their gardens, and that's too bad, but you see why now when you're in this emergency response situation. Yeah,
they're always worried about water pressure, and there's obviously no lack of water pressure there. That is just a fantastic shot how they're coming at it from all different angles.
10:48 on today's TMJ4, covering breaking news of a 4-alarm fire in the Riverwest neighborhood in Milwaukee. While it does appear that they have got this thing contained, and of course that's just our assessment, firefighters have not said that, and they have very specific guidelines about what is contained or not contained, but looks like they've got this thing to the point where it's not spreading, but a long way from out and a long way from where they're comfortable starting to break down at this scene, because the fire seems to have gone all the way into the interior of this old building. Putting a lot of water on that blaze. Nick Montes is on scene, said he was told that the fire broke out just around 9 o'clock. I have to tell you, we're out in the newsroom, and Nick had called in saying he'd checked out some smoke, and now he's on scene of this fire, and the next thing we heard, we've got a 4-alarm fire. This is about a mile away from today's TMJ4 here up on Capitol Drive. 4-alarm fire, when did this happen? It happened quickly. Came off that live picture from the chopper, and now we're getting some video in. Go back to the live. Nick is feeding in some sound, so we'll have an interview with one of the witnesses there from the Riverwest neighborhood in a moment. Back to our live picture here from Chopper 4. Firefighters in 2, perhaps even 3 tower positions, pouring water on the center part of this building, right about Pierce and Center Street. It's a very big building, as we've pointed out, and some of the homes, boy, look at that house that is, I think it's just south of that location right there. I mean, right up on top of the structure. So everything they can do to make sure that that fire does not spread to that home and then perhaps to others. An interesting mix. Folks know the Riverwest neighborhood of residential and businesses, even some light industrial from the old days of that neighborhood as well. Front part of Joe's garage and whatever else they have in that building. I think Nick said he thought there might have been some apartments up there. That is burned out pretty well.
Just look at the water. I mean, this shot, though, I mean, it gives you just a perspective of what those firefighters are seeing up in those ladders. I mean, looking down, you're basically seeing what the firefighter is doing as he's pushing the water onto the fire. This is amazing. At least the winds are relatively light. It's hot, and you can see a lot of firefighters, you know, down there in the corner there, and they're in full gear. It's an extra 40 to 60 pounds for these guys. They're in great shape. I mean, they're used to this stuff, but Mother Nature's not really helping too much this afternoon.
Fire and smoke causing the rec department for the city of Milwaukee to relocate some things. Just getting this in from our folks at Milwaukee Public Schools who help run the rec department in Milwaukee. Just reading through this quickly. Firefighters on scene of the 4-alarm blaze in Riverwest. Milwaukee Public Schools confirming there's a recreation division program operating in the school near that fire. That's Pierce Elementary School. It's run in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Children and staff have been moved inside Pierce School on North Fratney to help protect them from smoke from the fire. Everybody is okay. If there are any parents who might be watching this, whose kids are involved in that program, they move things inside Pierce School on Fratney to help protect those boys and girls from the smoke. That goes to your earlier point, Brian, about the air quality. They're not in danger from the fire, so to speak, but all that smoke in the air, and with how heavy the air is, it's not able to dissipate, and that causes some problems for breathing. Absolutely.
I mean, usually you see the fires and the smoke is going up, and I was driving in when they were saying this fire started, and I didn't really see that much smoke. I mean, you saw a little bit, but you didn't see a huge plume that you would typically see with a fire of this magnitude, and it's because the air is very heavy with all the moisture in it, and it's kind of staying ground level. You may not be able to see it per se, but those folks, I would say, in a pretty big radius are smelling. I bet you if we stepped outside here at the studios, what you said, we're about a mile away.
About a mile?
I bet you we'd smell some smoke out there, just because the fact that the winds are relatively light, and it's just kind of just hovering at the ground level.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock on today's TMJ4, our live picture coming to us from Chopper 4, and our Nick Montes has been on scene for more than an hour already and is able to join us again. Nick, what new information do you have?
Well, I was able to confirm a little more information from the acting deputy chief, and he tells me that this started at about 9:17 and they were on scene at about 9:20 this morning, and the fire has been burning ever since. This is a 4-alarm fire, not yet at 5, but I am told by the acting deputy chief that they're actually sending units home. They just wanted to have extra bodies on this fire because of this heat, so firefighters can take a break in between battling this fire. Now, this is, again, Joe's Auto Repair Shop, and I'm told there's studios and lofts in there as well. Don't know exactly the cause of this fire just yet. It is very early at this point to determine that. You hear people out here just kind of watching and taking a look because this fire is quite big. I interviewed a man who lives about half a block from this building, and he told me he's lived here for 20-something years and he's never seen anything like this. We're situated on Fratney and Center. This is off of Bruce and Center, and firefighters have been at it since about 9:20 this morning, so I believe that's an hour has passed already. And I can tell you that no one has been transported to the hospital, although they did say an ambulance was called in, but no need at this point to transport anybody for any injuries. So I guess that is definitely some good news in that sense. And again, firefighters taking a break in between, while they're fighting this fire just because of this heat. Again, there is a slight breeze, so that could be helping firefighters keep cool, but again, it could work against them in fighting this fire.
And Nick, did the deputy chief give you any indication as to whether they brought in county buses, as they often do, or other precautions that they're taking to make sure that the firefighters, when they're switched out, have a chance to cool down?
Yeah, actually, there are county buses here. They can go in that bus, have